So I've come across this really cool idea that really helps with sort of prioritizing action lists or to-do lists. I often find this quite overwhelming to sort of decide where do I start, because everything is important at the end of the day if it's on your list, otherwise it wouldn't be there in the first place. So this idea is called the prioritization matrix. I came across it on YouTube, and I'd seen it done in like a bullet journal form with sort of pen and paper. It was a really cool idea, but just the time that it takes to set the grid up each time was a bit impractical for me. And I'd never actually used it properly until today. And so today I'd given it a shot and I saw could I actually build sort of like a digital tool around that idea. And so this is what I built today and I'd like to share that with you. This is just because it's a fantastic idea and it really blew my mind how simple it actually was. And so I built this and you can access it for free. I've built the tool. I'll share the link with you as well. So basically this is how it works. So essentially you've got, this one is built for 10 tasks. And the idea is that you'll basically be pinning, instead of like looking at your entire list of 10, for example, and like trying to decide which of these is the more important, you sort of pin sort of each task against one other one and make a decision on those. But let me show you how it works. So for example, let's say that you've got this list of tasks. I've just made this hypothetical one with ChatGPT. Obviously this would be different depending on your situation on that. But let's say you've got these 10 tasks and you sort of just list them in no particular order from A to J. So schedule doctor, design poster, close sales, order gas, pay school fees, plan family trip, approve payments, send invoice, and sign contracts and organize office. So let's say, for example, so what you're going to do is start with A. So you're going to put A against B. So if I had to decide between scheduling a doctor and designing a poster, which one of those would be more important? I sort of think through and so let's say, for example, I'm going to choose schedule doctor because that's a quick versus designing a poster, and you'll see that it's automatically starting to tally them up. Here under rating, I'll explain that in a second. That's a pretty cool function that's happening here. Then you're going to go to the next one. So let's say now A versus C. So schedule doctor versus close sales. Now let's say I'm not too worried about the doctor right now. It's like a follow-up or something like that. Then I'm going to choose C. C will win between A and C. Then we've got A and D, order gas versus schedule doctor. Let's say the gas is also not very high priority, so I'm going to do the doctor first. Pay school fees, that's going to be quite a quick thing for me to do. It's literally logging into my account. So there, E will win over A. So I've just quickly filled that line in. Now you can do the same basically for B. So now you're going to put B against C, B against D, B against E. Okay, so I've quickly just filled it in. So you can see basically I've gone through this list and for each letter I've done the same process. And you can see now here what it's done, it's automatically tallied up. I built it to do that. How many times that letter is referenced. So you can see, for example, E, pay school fees, that's a very quick action, that gets ranked as 9. Now that's obviously, the interesting thing for me was how when I did each one versus the other, the value that I was sort of pinning it against or the reason why I made the decision was very different. But then by doing that across the board for all of them, I sort of get this holistic sort of collective perspective on maybe my value system, or maybe I'm trying to avoid stress, or it's maybe something that'll just quick to get out the way. And then basically what I can then do is take these ratings and rank the action items again according to that. So basically I'll start with E. So E is pay school fees. And that would basically go here up here at the top. And I'll basically do the same as I go down. And then I've got a nice, neat sort of prioritize action items list. And the cool thing about that is I've basically just used my varied sort of decision making to prioritize this. And I can go and have a look through this. And I was very shocked to see that when I did that, the sort of overwhelming sort of tangled mess of tasks that was in my head became very, very straightforward. And when I looked at the list, the things that I was actually going to start with as 1 and 2 on my list were actually then ranked as 3 and 5. And I had 2 other tasks at the top which were very quick, and actually haven't got them out the way, relieved so much sort of brain space for me and allowed me to think a lot more clearly, coming back to number 3, which was actually the task I was going to start with initially. So yeah, this really blew my mind. I think it's very simple, and I've made a cool little tool to help me do that, and so I figured I'd share that with you. If you go back to the template over here, you'll basically just need to copy this. So you'll just need to click File. So you'll just need to click File, make a copy, and then you can rename this maybe to just prioritization matrix and your name. And then you'll see that it's opened in a new tab, so you can just close the original one. I basically just set that as view only, so whoever uses that is not actually able to work on the template itself, and they'll always need to make a copy first, which ensures that all the formulas and that won't break there. So even if you do make an error or something, it'll always be there for you to then just go and access again. So you can close that. Let me just move myself out the way. Yeah, so basically then all you need to do is just go in here, put in your just the name of the task or something you're trying to work through. I've left the example here as well, so you can check that out. You literally just need to put in A or B, then A or C in each block as you sort of work down here, sort of there, and then it automatically calculates this based on the table that's inside these blocks here. So all you have to do is fill this in, have your list names or the item that's there, and then it'll automatically rank them there, and then you can just reorganize that there. Then what I would suggest is either just copy this thing each time or just duplicate the actual template here for yourself. But anyways, that's the tool. I'll also share the link of the video where I got the idea from. I think this has really blew my mind how simple it was and how quickly I was actually able to think through what was a very overwhelming, tangled mess in my head. In a couple of minutes, I had a very nice, neat list which I had prioritized myself, so I knew it wasn't sort of someone else's perspective. This was sort of based on what I needed and what was going to help me the most as a user. So yeah, there you go. I hope it's helpful.